This is my first time I think I've ever recorded myself speaking, well, on anything, but right recently my mind has been like a solitary place of just torture, and I feel so like I cannot write about it as I would have used to as like a means of like a brief respite of just relaxation. Or you could have came across even just a plateau instead of a high of just freedom. I wish I wasn't so introspective. It's like I wasn't so thoughtful. It's like my tongue just bothers me and traps me into myself. And whenever I regress into myself, I retreat into myself, I tend to suffer because I trust my judgment more than anyone else's. And therefore whatever I say to myself about myself is whatever I believe and what sticks with me and what I hold dear to myself and I keep with myself and what I judge my life by. Usually, I have always been like this, but usually I have a balance. I have a very specific way of balancing my mental state that I have developed over the years. If someone doesn't fit in it, I simply excommunicate them. If I need someone to bask in their affection, the admiration, I need someone to worship me, I find one. Attention for young women is very easy to find online. You can find someone to worship you for a night to get your mental state proper, so you don't really have to face your thoughts very easily. These things are not hard to come by. It bothers me a lot to think of the state of the world. I've become overly stimulated by ever increasing threats of new information that torment me. Black womanhood is falling. It's falling. Womanhood in general is gone. Femininity is a masquerade. Feminism in itself has been cheapened and bought, sold to the lowest bidder, and it's all that I've known to be great women. Those are the ones we scorned. And what is the concept of womanhood anymore? What is the concept of black womanhood anymore? Are we not? It's very depressing of like a set of rules that women have to live by, and we have been living by, and we only broke free, some of us, not even all, from 1970 to 2016. We only just to enjoy like a brief respite away from the weight of patriarchy and the devils that lie within. We had just a brief period of being allowed to be women, but outside of the external pushing and pulling, prodding of male influence. I always wondered, like, why is it that femininity as a concept, the concept of a woman is merely whatever a man is not. Masculinity is clearly defined by what men themselves make up. Men are homoerotic by nature. They don't really care for female validation as much as they want to be admired by their male colleagues. They have no interest in if women today, it's not about what they're attracted to, but rather what other men around them decide is most admirable to be seen with. Masculinity is a thing derived and controlled solely by men, upheld, yes, in standards by women, of course, but who cares? We don't have any real push and pull on these things. I think the best thing we actually have ever done was just decide that we're not dating men under 6 foot. That was I thought it was quite brilliant. For the one time, we finally decided that at least we can have one damn standard. One. We judge men by their competitiveness. Whatever they compete for, we look for in a partner. It's never been the other way around. Men compete for resources. We want men with resources. It's so, I feel to say regressive or outdated, because women have always been a claque of unwilling sycophants chasing after the shining iconography of men. I will not branch into the oh my god, cis hetero white men have destroyed us. Women have destroyed ourselves first. There's much more to worship in a man, and no one seems to understand that for some reason. You worship men for attention, validation, even to validate the birth of your own children. That is so sad. You look for men to even validate your right to empower yourself, which is so disgusting. And it brings me to a thought, are women as dumb as men say? Are they really? How could you not see that coming? How could you not? It's so deeply and complete and utterly disappointing. There is a point in time where you no longer can hold men liable. How could you make them how could you put the onus on men when women are so foolish and they willingly accept whatever men shit into their mouths? There was a respite, of course, I said. There was a respite. 44 years we had. If my math is not too bad, I would hope not. 46, when we had the opportunity to be raised in a society where an option was presented to us. We did not have to enter into the rat's race of competitiveness for the sake of man. And yet still, young girls of today, we fell right back into it. But I should not, I struggle to say we, because I try to make myself as far removed from that as possible, but even as I'm still in the category of girlhood, I think I'm women remain little girls until 22, 23, 24. You can really understand yourself by 24, I think. Or 25. 25 is more reasonable to say. Your brain is developing. You're not in a state that you are fully yourself. I will have 10 more years to go until 25. I'm in a limbo of girlhood at the moment. And to see the crumble of womanhood around me is so disheartening. These are supposed to be my sisters. I will not be. I would not participate in sisterhood with imbeciles. It's so disappointing. Is that why they had to keep them in the house? To prevent them from going out and making such idiots of themselves? Is that why we have to be kept in the house? It's so disgusting. And I know that women are such incredible, intelligent creatures. We breathe life into everything. We create life. Us by ourselves. And yet, you couldn't see that coming. Feminism should have been. It was good in 2016. People thought that the red-haired ladies with like the fat and refused to shave their armpits were somehow wrong. I don't know. Maybe they haven't like read any feminist theory. They convinced young girls that these women were out in their mind. They didn't know what they're talking about. But really, they were right. They were right. I know the young girls who fell for that absolute bullshit. They have nothing to grow into. There's no concept of womanhood. If you ask a feminist today, an intersectional, disgusting idiot, no concept of common sense, she would not be able to tell you. Or they can go. I don't know. I wonder why people don't kill themselves anymore. When they realize that they have nothing to contribute to the society beyond spouting absolute nonsense. I'd say, well, yeah, let's refer to them as what they prefer to be called. They decide amongst themselves. They would not be able to tell you what womanhood is. These are the girls who are being groomed by the internet to lack and be proud of the fact that they lack common sense. They lack individualism. They lack free thought. It's disturbing. TikTok is, of all things, the most abhorrent thing I've ever come across. I wonder how girls are able to do that. As I said, I balanced my mental state. I could tell from like the minute of its inception it wasn't for me. It seemed to be such a stupid thing for anybody to involve themselves in. How could women of all people be involved in something so stupid as that and not have the intuition to tell that it was no good? How was that possible? I could not understand. I think of womanhood as being sacred. There is not a man in a dress that can be a woman. There is not a girl unpolished who can make herself into a woman. There are some women, there are some girls, some adult females that will never be able to cross the threshold of divine womanity because of traumas, because of the awful, regressive standards being placed on women now, and the pressures forcing on us from each side. We have not even the concept of being a woman with a womb, a man with a womb. It's a far back and now. They seem to want us to exist in the blank spaces between manhood. Why do we not deserve to have spaces for ourselves? These things are way heavy on my soul, they really do. I think of them all the time. Lately I've been considering them to try to it's bothering me, it really is. I cannot stand it anymore, I don't think. I have to make use of my thoughts. I have to record them to get them out, kids. Like I seek comfort. And I don't, as I said, when I receive it to myself, there's nothing, I don't feel the need to reach out to receive it. So it's like, alright, I've just trapped in suffering for a while. I think I'll make more of these. Perhaps I'll post them somewhere. Maybe. It's important to me that alternative ways of thinking are pushed so that young girls don't fall into the trap of nonsense. that young girls learn how to think for themselves and become leaders in their own right.